Hello, and welcome to Just Ask. Do you feel like you want an outcome to happen and every time you check back, it's still in the same spot, seemingly not moving, or it's going in the complete opposite direction of how you want it to move? Well, here's some tips as to how to manifest what you want, but first, let's explain what it is. Now, of course, common sense comes into play because if you want let's say, the moon to crash down to the earth, that's clearly not going to happen, and maybe it will, but you won't be there to see it, so it doesn't matter. But let me first explain what the law of attraction is. I know you've heard this millions of times, but let's say you want your relationship to flourish, or you want to lose weight, or you want to gain weight, or you want to live a life of wealth. You can have those things. Most people never get there because of their mentality. Manifestation is not a magic trick. It takes work, but it begins with your mentality. For real. You see, everything in the universe operates on energy. There's positive energy and negative energy, and it's very real. Have you ever felt a negative vibe in the room? Or have you been around certain people that just make you feel lighter and motivate you to want to be a better person, as opposed to people who just have this negative vibe coming off of them and make you feel as though you're mad all the time? Well, that's energy. And of course, that energy that is being put into their micro expressions is being perceived by you as a threat. How people react to other people has a lot to do with their energy as well. The energy of the environment they're constantly immersed in, or the energy of people that they're constantly surrounding themselves with. There is very real energy, such as the power of suggestion, in which people create vibrations in the air that cause other people to feel like committing violence or singing in unison. The law of attraction, for once, does not work like this, because I think this is a misconception people have when they hear this and they're like, oh wow, it's just a hippie thing. Okay, it doesn't work like this. I want a new car. So you sit and you wait until the new car falls in your lap. That's not how it works. Not saying that can never happen, because there are some lucky people, but that's generally not how it works. The law of attraction works like this. I want a new car. I'm going to get a new car. You change your mentality to believe that it's possible for you to get a new car, and so that motivates you to make the moves towards stepping in that direction. People around you can feel your positive energy. You may come into contact with more people because of your positive outlook, or start performing activities to put you in place with people who get your vibe. Naturally, you talk more about your goals. You tell them what your plans are, or they'll tell you if there's eventually something that they want to do. And eventually, after talking with a lot of people or performing certain actions, the subject is going to come up. And that would have come up anyway, even if you didn't believe in the law of attraction, which would result in someone telling you where they got their car, and you end up getting one with a deal, yada, yada, yada. But it also falls in line with action. It's not just sitting and wishing something happens. You have to perform that activity. I remember I was working so hard, and I was always a positive person. And my grandmother just decided one day that she'd just give me her car, her old car. Now, people may believe or may think that because I wanted a car, I got a car because I just believed. But just believing isn't enough. I mean, a lot of people believe they're going to win the lottery and they don't. If I was a bad student or a horrible granddaughter, she would not have thought of me first as being the person to receive that gift. On top of that, I was actually looking at the time for a moped. It could be that I mentioned I wanted to get a moped to my mother, and she told my grandmother that she needed a car, that her daughter needed a car because she didn't want me in a moped. And because I was a good daughter, my grandmother felt I'd be responsible for enough for one at the time. So manifestation isn't magic, it is suggestion through action. In a way, it can seem very magical, and there are coincidences that may come across your path to make it seem as though some higher being is making this happen. So I can understand why people would feel that way. The only thing that seems magical about the law of attraction is the energy flow from one person or action to the next. And is it really magic when it's a natural occurrence? No. Although the outcomes can feel very much so. So the very important thing about energy is that, and this is also speaking about manifesting, is to make sure that you're giving back, that you're giving your energy away. Whatever you give away is multiplied to you. The saying that if you live by the sword, you die by the sword is very real, because if you're constantly immersed in an environment of violence, then most likely you're going to meet a violent end. Not always, but most likely. If you're always using your positive energy into creating or impacting other people, then you're going to have positive results come back to you. Even with a negative result, or if negative results are happening, you're not going to see them as much because confirmation bias. You see everything through a positive outlook, so it's not that negative things don't happen to you or won't ever happen to you again. It's just that you don't let them stop you or phase you, because your mentality is more positive oriented. You can see things, positive things or positive outcomes, a lot more than you would otherwise when you had a negative mentality. People who allow themselves to be bogged down by negative stuff or demotivated or speak negatively, which demotivates others from wanting to work with them, often causes them to be robbed of their own wealth that they could generate from having a better outlook on life. So, how can this be applied to relationships or any other goal that you want to achieve in life? Let's say that you're with someone that you really care about or you really want to lose weight or something. Constantly stressing over what you want may cause you to get the opposite results. There's a difference between being excited over what you want and being in a state of expectancy and stressing about what you want and your outcome. If you have a positive outlook on what you want every day and constantly affirm and tell yourself, I'm going to get this, you put out a positive energy which motivates you to work on the actions towards making that happen. Your body is always in a state of contentment, and so you naturally have more energy and health to get things done or to transfer that positive energy through your work or other people, which opens up opportunities for better things to happen. I've dealt with that before, and I remember every day I had to commute on my push scooter to work, and was my part-time job, and I kept playing music in my ears that was encouraging and kept smiling my whole way to my part-time job because I was thinking about the moment when I buy a new car and when I'm riding my car to work, and eventually when I would ride my car out of the state to move out of my parents' house, which was always a dream of mine. While I worked at my part-time job, I kept a healthy, positive outlook on where I was going to be, saying that this job was only going to fund my business and I was only using it to fund my business, and I was using it to also lose weight, because at the time my butt was really big. So I'm like, let me do this to lose weight, and lifting all those boxes and always having a happy outlook so that I could work from home later on doing what I love to do, which is inspiring and entertaining other people, making it a lifelong career. Every time something negative would happen in my life, I kept reminding myself that this was not the end and it would only get better. And so I didn't take things too personally. As a result of me putting out that positive energy, I made myself someone that other people wanted to be around. My manager gave me special privileges as a result of this. People were willing to do favors for me because of this. People always used to tell me it pays to be good when I was growing up because I was always a positive and happy child. However, I think the better translation for this is it pays to be a positive giver, for someone who gives energy for making other people feel good about themselves. If you tell yourself, I'm going to lose weight, and even if you make a mistake and you eat a whole cake or you go over your calorie intake for the day, instead of stressing out, beating yourself up, and say horrible things about yourself, which causes you to gain weight anyway, smile to yourself and say jokingly, you little piggy, don't worry, by this time you're going to be really slim. You messed up now, but we all know this is going to happen, or we all know that you're going to fail along the way, and we also understand that this isn't going to happen overnight, but you're going to have a banging body, son. And just talk to yourself that way. Talk to yourself like an encouraging friend. Be your own best friend. Now, if you're someone who wants your relationship to work and you're stressing about what your partner's doing or them leaving or whatever, keep telling yourself that you know that I'm going to have the best relationship with this guy or with this girl that people are going to envy because it's so good. And if you continue having that positive outlook on your relationship, and even if your partner acts up or does things that you don't like, you'll just smile instead of stressing over it and say, my poor significant other, my poor honey, my poor bunny, they have this ugly habit that makes me so uncomfortable, but I know it's not personal. I know they're not coming from a malicious place. I understand that also that I don't own anyone, and that this person loves me enough to be with me, and they're going to be a better person each and every day, and I'm going to encourage them and inspire them to be so because I've loved myself enough to be that person, but I also love them enough to set that example. Isn't that what parents do for their kids? If you're always stressed about something, you're always going to be accusing your partner and starting fights with them and judging them. The last thing that any of us need is for a significant other to judge us when we already do that to ourselves all the time. When you can look at your partner behaving a certain way, or your best friend or whoever behaving a certain way, and smile lovingly, knowing that they'll grow to be a better person as you grow to be a better person because your positive energy will also inspire them to be the same way, you'll feel a lot more at peace. And that can only result in a positive outcome. This goes for kids as well. With parents, they usually stress so much over, my kid's not doing this and my kid's not doing that. And they're always trying to control what their kids do. And you don't realize if you just let go a little bit, just have faith that what you've instilled in your kids, even when they make mistakes as kids, they're going to grow up to be great. And also keep in mind that you weren't so great yourself too when you were growing up, and you turned out okay. You made mistakes, but it made you a better person and you turned out fine. Have a little bit of faith in your kids or in your partner or in your friend. However, if you're negative all the time, you're going to react negatively to your partner, to your kids, to your friends. There's a difference between playing hot and cold in a romantic relationship to spice up your love life, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, if it's coming from a bad place because you're constantly upset with your partner about something they're doing or a bad habit they have, such as leaving all the dishes in the sink, that malicious negative energy is going to transfer to your partner and they're going to feel it. That's not love, and it certainly doesn't feel like that. They're always going to feel as though you're disappointed, and that's going to demotivate them from trying harder. It's going to take the wind out of their sails and makes it feel as though they're always getting toxic negative energy from you. And eventually, it can even end a relationship, sadly. It can even ruin the relationship a kid has with its parent. I also know this from experience because growing up, my guardian did this to me. I would always mess up by forgetting to clean something or take out the garbage or, something. And not doing everything exactly perfect. And even when I did do something perfect or I was doing well in a certain area in my life, she would always say, you never do this right, or you never do this. It was really disconcerting and discouraging, especially when you try your best and you may be struggling in an area or one specific area for someone to say that you're completely a bad person because of it, or you've never done anything right, or make you feel like that. Let's say your partner takes out the garbage and that is what they're supposed to do. You guys have an agreement that that's what they're supposed to do at night. Let's say the person forgets to take out the garbage 80% of the time. 20% of the time, they do remember. Maybe they grew up in a household where that wasn't their thing and you have to constantly be reminding them. For you to say that 100% of the time they never take out the garbage, that discredits the 20% that they do. And even though this may seem silly, it really hurts someone that the little bit that they did manage to achieve and get right, you take that away from them or you discredit them completely. And that's a lie. And it makes them look at you as though you look at them with disdain or disrespect and don't appreciate whatever little bit they do. It feels like they're not making any headway, and so why bother trying if you're not even going to acknowledge the few times that they did do things right? You get through people a lot better when you encourage them and praise them rather than constantly judging and pointing fingers on what you don't like about them. Speak life into people. Tell them what you see them as. Let them understand that the person who they are now is not the person they're going to be in 5 years. And that everyone is growing, and with growing comes pains, and you're willing to tough it out with them because you're also growing. Cutting someone else down comes from a negative, toxic place, and a lot of us do it. Sometimes we do it out of insecurity. Sometimes we do it surely out of the need to just control someone. Once you get it in your head that you don't own anyone, that you don't even own your kids, that's when the best results come from encouraging and lifting up your partner, just like you have to lift up yourself every day. The outcome and results will be so much better, and you'll see it, and it will encourage you to do it over and over again the right way. The same thing with weight loss or weight gain. You're someone who gains weight easily by stressing out, and you tend to retain weight because of that. If you're still, if you're someone who is, you find it hard to gain weight, stressing out makes you lose weight. So you see how it's counterintuitive if you want to gain weight or lose weight for you to stress out at all? Keep a happy outlook on things. That will motivate you to keep trying. So to manifest what you want, have a positive outlook. Beware of the way that you speak. I'm aware that we're human and sometimes we have those moments when we just rail on ourselves or other people, and we should be given that allowance. There's nothing wrong with that because you also want to be honest with how you're feeling, but after you get out, don't stay in it. It's like drinking alcohol or having a little bit of alcohol to ease the nerves, but don't become an alcoholic. It's basically the same thing. Get out of how you're really feeling, or get out how you're really feeling. Let someone know, or even be honest with yourself about how you're really feeling, and then move on. Tell your significant other how they made you feel, and then move on. Don't harp on things. And I also know, because I had a bad habit of doing this as well, that if you have something that you want to say, just say it. Don't keep it in your heart. Let it off your chest. Even if it's something that you feel is going to make you feel uncomfortable saying it, or the other person uncomfortable hearing it, it is important that if you have trust within a relationship, that you say what is on your mind, because it will fester and that will affect your negative energy from you moving forward or being positive and do what you want to do. Also, if you want to change how other people treat you or inspire other people to be a certain way, the best way to do that is indirectly and with your energy. If you're someone who becomes an inspirational character and a go-getter, you're either going to change the person that you're with to be inspired to, or to be better, or you're going to attract the right person who is. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have a positive outlook on things. That way, that will motivate you to exercise or constantly research better ways to make that happen, such as intermittent fasting or keto or whatever works for you. If you want to heal your body, I promise you, one of the best things you can do is envision yourself being healed and how you'd feel when you are. And that is going to drive you to want to do research to find things that work for you. There are some people that can heal themselves or who have healed themselves just by cutting out negativity and stress. Sometimes it is negative energy or a negative thing or a negative thought that you're constantly immersed in that makes you sick in the first place. Keeping your body in constant stress tells it that it needs to be more focused on impending danger, and so it focuses less on fighting off a sickness that you may have or a bug. By stressing, you make your body so busy trying to look for where the next danger is coming from that it no longer is concerned with healing itself. Everyone knows, including medical doctors, that stress may lead to illness. When your body is stressed out, it releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to prepare itself to fight or flee from danger. And also it puts the immune system on high alert. But the funny thing is that these stress hormones protect you from feeling pain, but as a result, you end up pushing yourself more, stressing yourself more because you don't perceive the pain. So the very thing that's meant to protect you ends up working against you. You're so busy worrying about what might happen to you that you don't even realize what is happening to you. The minute you have a letdown period or a moment of respite or where you're not as stressed, you find that you're sore or you start getting diabetes or headaches. Diabetes is just, that's an exaggeration, but I've actually seen people who are just so stressed all the time that they eat and eat and eat and eat and they actually give themselves diabetes. Per the person's story, not mine. But our bodies were never meant to stay in a constant state of stress or apprehension. Emotional stress as well as physical stress create the same inflammatory response, which opens up the door for you to actually get physically ill. That's why it's so important that to keep out negative energy. Bad energy is really, really bad for you. Don't do that to your body. It does not deserve it. You don't deserve that. Constantly keeping anything in a state of stress is going to burn it out and eventually kill it. People are going to perceive that you're always stressed out, and if you stay like that for prolonged periods, they will not want to be around you, which will close the door to certain positive things that could happen in your life through those people. Be in a state of expectancy for what you want to happen. That means smile and knowing that, and not means smiling all the time. You don't have to do that, but smile to yourself in knowing that it will happen because you're going to make sure it does. Understand that while there's a lot of things that are out of your control, you can gain control over a lot of things from changing your outlook on life. It doesn't take much effort. That's the wonderful thing about it. Honestly, stressing out requires more energy than just letting go. Often we choose to stress, and yes, a lot of the time it is a choice because it makes us feel in control. We've trained ourselves that we have to always be thinking to make sure that nothing hurts us or no one hurts us or no one pulls the fast one on us and that we're not getting the short end of the stick. We're putting the focus in the wrong place. Our focus should be on the positive goals we want to achieve for ourselves. And if we could rewrite our minds and our emotions to focus on things that make us happy, and I understand that happiness doesn't lie in someone else and how they feel about us, and you have to understand that too. You'll be a lot happier for knowing that. Then we'll understand that we have so much more control of the outcome of our own lives than previously thought or than was previously told to us. Just think of life like a video game. If you make more of the right choices emotionally, that will give you a buffer to make the right choices physically, and vice versa. So, will you choose the dark side or the light side? You can have what you want. It all starts in the mind.